it's much like the traditional mannequins used in fire departments like this. Users can still feel the rise and fall of a chest compression and will hear a clicking sound to know they're doing it right. Closing the gates at many state parks is necessary because of the 2-year, $22 million cut in funding that was approved by Governor Jerry Brown and the legislature. One Bay Area program has already started showing parents what are good foods for their children to try, and have shown kids how food can be fun. The Giants will be on the road for another week before they return here to AT&T Park. Up next for Johnson, he'll take the mound against the Marlins on Tuesday night, where he'll be looking for win number 301. Teen pregnancy was pushed back into the national spotlight in 2009 when Bristol Palin announced she would be an unwed teen mother. And since then, shows like 16 and Pregnant and Teen Mom have been ratings hits across the country. In a recent study, it was found that cheerleading is the #1 most dangerous sport for female athletes in the United States. But for the men and women here at Cheer SF, they say the opportunity to help others outweighs that risk. If 50% or more of the students are receiving a free or reduced lunch, they're considered part of the low-income population. The goal? To give those kids the same access to nutrition and physical activity as everybody else. From beaches to redwoods, California has more parks than any other state. One of these parks, China Camp in Marin County, draws in visitors who use it for many activities.
China Camp's a great place if you want to hike and get great views of the bay, and there's tons of different trails you can take, whether hiking or biking.
Bill Bresky hikes here a few times a week, but starting in September, China Camp will be one of the 70 state parks that will be closed to visitors.
So, I mean, this is a tiny portion, but still 5.5 million visits won't happen this year, and that's a pretty big number no matter how you count.
California State Parks Foundation Director Elizabeth Goldstein says 14 parks within an hour of San Francisco will be closing. Parks across the state were evaluated on their historic significance, number of visitors, and generated revenue. Those on the bottom of that list are the ones that will be shut.
When I look at that list, I don't know that there ever could have been a good list, or, there's just no such thing as a park closure list with 25% of the California State Park System on it.
Closing the gates at many state parks is necessary because of the 2-year, $22 million cut in funding that was approved by Governor Jerry Brown and the legislature.
The thing that scares us at the California State Parks Foundation is that if parks are closed, they're going to deteriorate, and it's going to actually be very costly to reopen them.
While they are closed, many of these parks will be counting on the help of volunteers, like John Muir. Muir works at China Camp building boats to teach visitors about the park's history.
I just hope people kind of consider how important parks are to them, and consider how, supporting in the government, taxes or whatever it takes, you need to get money from somewhere to support something as important as parks.
In Marin, Ashley Larson, State of Events. Looking at the players at Alhambra High School's freshman football practice, nothing seems out of the ordinary. And from the cleats to the jersey to the shoulder pads, the Bulldogs kicker looks just like any other player on the field. Until she takes off her helmet. Lauren Hayhurst is playing her first season of organized football, but her time on the field started at a young age.
I was always the water girl on my dad's football team, and after a couple seasons of doing it, I was like, wow, I like this, and so I decided to start kicking.
But being a girl wasn't going to guarantee Hayhurst a position on the team. Coach Luke Bodwin says having a girl interested in playing was intriguing, and he wanted to see what she could do.
She said right off the bat she was interested in being a kicker, and that's what she wanted to do. And we let her know that she was going to have to compete for that job. It wasn't going to be handed to her, but if she was the best kicker, then that's what she would do. And she showed up every day, worked her butt off, and she ended up taking the kicking job.
But taking that job wasn't always easy. In the beginning, Hayhurst said she was by herself, the only girl on a team of boys.
At first they didn't really accept it, I guess you could say, because I hadn't shown them what I could do yet. And then once we got through the season and I showed them that I could play and stuff like that, they just treated me like one of them.
And being part of the team hasn't only been a positive for Hayhurst. Coach Bodwin says her courage to do something no one else has done has shown others they can do the same thing.
She wasn't going to be dissuaded by people who told her no or suggested that it wouldn't be something she could do. I think Lauren's opened a lot of doors. She's made a lot of things possible for people that they maybe wouldn't have considered.
And from up here in the stands, it's easy to see what an impact Hayhurst has had out on the field, an impact she hopes to continue here at Alhambra. Hayhurst said she wants to keep playing football and plans on trying out for the kicking position for the Bulldogs JV team next year. In Martinez, I'm Ashley Larson, CSR. The Stowe Lake Boathouse, which was built back in 1949, is a popular spot for both San Francisco locals and tourists. But later this month, a day at the lake will be a little different for visitors. Pedal boats and carnival snacks, two staples of the Stowe Lake Boathouse in San Francisco's Golden Gate Park. But renovations will be happening at the site in the next few months, and visitors can expect to see some upgrades.
Over 50 brand new American-made boats, paddle boats, rowboats, and electric boats. So that's one of the major upgrades that we'll see very shortly.
Frank Klein works for Ortega Family Enterprises, a New Mexico-based company that recently won a bid from San Francisco's Parks and Recreation Department to take over boat rentals and food service at the lake. In their bid, the Ortegas said they will also bring in an expanded menu at an indoor cafe, new floors, and accessible bathrooms. But these changes aren't coming without a fight. For the past 67 years, the boathouse at Stowe Lake has been run by the McClellan family, and there are a lot of people that are not happy the Ortegas have won the bid.
Their bid was rubber stamped all the way from the beginning, which shocked many of us, and shocked the public. And people are still shocked. They can't believe that that's happening.
The McClellan family says they agree upgrades are needed, but we're not willing to invest the money because they have been on a month-to-month lease for the past 5 years. Besides the changes at the boathouse, one of Phone's biggest worries is that a large company won't understand what this place means to the locals.
It's a place to get away. It's just an oasis in the city. And I think a corporation won't get that.
But the McClellans are still hoping the city will name the boathouse a local landmark. Even if this does happen, only some of the history at the lake will be preserved. Blogging may be a way of life in the United States, but in some countries it can land you in jail. An Egyptian blogger was sentenced to 3 years in prison on Monday for criticizing the military. Even though the next presidential election is still a year and a half away, President Obama has already announced his candidacy. Many Democrats consider Mr. Obama to be an unbeatable candidate in 2012, due to the fragmentation of the Republican Party and its lack of a strong leader. But some Republicans point to Obama's broken promises and lackluster performance in the last 2 years. The leash is still being pulled both ways in the debate over tighter restrictions for dogs. Many dog owners showed up to City Hall on Monday to protest the National Park Service's proposal. The proposal says that dogs should be kept out of parts of San Francisco's Crissy Field, Ocean Beach, and Fort Funston. Federal officials hope to reach an agreement by late next year.